Welcome to Voices for Justice, the podcast where law meets real life. I am Muskan, a law student exploring how law protects and empowers our communities. Today's episode tackles a very important issue domestic violence and gender based violence. Across India, over 4 lakh cases were reported last year alone. Each number is a survivor seeking justice, dignity, and hope. To help us unpack the legal and human side of this crisis, we are joined by Advocate Shruti Shrestha ma'am, who has worked extensively on women's rights and domestic violence cases at High Court. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Ma'am, to begin, my first question female labor force participation in India remains significantly lower than men despite rising educational levels. I would like your view on why higher education for women is still not translating into equal workforce participation.
See, there cannot be one single reason for this. Again, if we come down that why women participation is low in spite of higher education, the first and the foremost reason is family, family arrangements, family backups, that how a person, a female, when she evolves in life, in having a higher educational qualification, and then gets into a marital life.
Yes.
One aspect goes into the fact if a female chooses not to be in a married life, then the career progression is right trajectory. The other perspective can be when a female chooses family life as well as her career. So again, what happens in that when a female chooses both,
Yes, ma'am.
the first and the foremost approach is that a balance between the both. So when you strike a balance between the both your family involvement, bearing child, raising child, bearing the family, raising the family, and balancing your career. So this is the most important factor, what I feel and what I've seen in years with my friends, with my colleagues, with my elders, that in spite of having very good education, they chose family. They
Yes.
decided not to have the career in life or have the trajectory of 0 to 100 and have a peaceful family life. Again for this there are a lot of factors contributory. How contributing is your family as a whole, your husband, your in-laws, your parents, how do they help you? So I feel that this is one of the foremost important reasons that a female who has been educated falls back in career, that she's not able to reach a pinnacle or reach a height when even if she has an opportunity, because she chooses the family life or she tries to have a balance between the both. Because even if you have a balance between the both, somewhere down line in the career you have to push your back, because if your child needs, when the child is sick, the mother has to be there. If the child, if there is a program in the school, the mother has to be present for the child. Because again, when you are growing as an individual, when you are evolving, when you are developing, you have taken the responsibility of being a mother as well. Career is equally important, but being a mother is also equally important. So I feel that one of the biggest reasons, not in a negative sense, but in a holistic approach, I would say that yes, responsibilities as a family person, responsibilities of the child, the in-laws, old aged in-laws, is one of the biggest reasons is that why women are not equally contributing to
As
the
well.
labor force. Again, the second thing you can say is that in the Indian patriarchal society, generally the males are considered to be the breadwinner. Whatever income comes from the female is generally not considered to be the breadwinner. It is always a contributory factor. She's not the breadwinner in the Indian patriarchal society. But again, the things are evolving, scenario is changing. So I think with changing times, we have seen lot of development, lot of women participating in the workforce, but compared to the male workforce, definitely we are lacking on this.
Ma'am, my second question to you is, women occupy less than 20% of leadership role in corporate and decision-making position in India. From your perspective, what does data say about invisible barriers to women's leadership?
Again, the first question and the second question, I would say is almost on the similar
Same.
lines, because when a female chooses career, when she chooses career, she has to dedicate her time, energy. Again, this time and energy is limited. You have 24 hours. You have 24 hours. वही 24 घंटे में आपको काम भी करना है, आपको अपना family भी देखना है. So again, leadership roles, why they're not able to reach the leadership roles? Because if at all you are employed for reaching the pinnacle, for reaching the heights of success, the leadership roles, you have to give your 24 hours में से maybe 10 hours or 12 hours, and because of your family responsibilities or because of your engagements, not in, again I would say, it is not in a negative connotation, it is on a very positive connotation and a balanced approach. She's not able to give that time and energy, therefore she's not able to reach. Few females choose it, few females have done it very brilliantly, like Indra Neoni, and they have done brilliantly. But again, she also says that when you come back home, you're not the CEO of Pepsi. You are just a mother. And that balance has to be there.
Okay, ma'am. My third question to you is, according to Bar Council legal profession data, only 15.3% of practicing advocates in 15 Indian states are women. In Supreme Court, women are even less, only 9.3% of judges are women, according to some sources. We would love to hear your perspective on why women continue to remain such a small minority in the legal field despite increasing educational opportunities.
See, 10 years or 12 years down the line, when I joined the legal profession, the number of females when I saw, especially in our High Court, Jharkhand High Court, was like countable on hands. But now the scenario has changed. There are a lot of girls who are coming up. Again, when you take up law as a profession is a difficult profession. I would not say that it's a cakewalk for profession. Initially, especially after completing your law, when you choose what to do, whether you want to go for litigation, that is a hardcore litigation, you want to join a law office, you want to work with NGOs, or you want to be a teacher, a professor of law. So again, that matters.
Yes, ma'am.
But talking about litigation, what you are referring to, practicing law. Again, practicing law is a very, very tough line of choice. It is not an easy line of choice. Cases and clients don't come to you. You have to staff for it, you have to run for it. You have to have that, connections. You have to have that zeal. Until unless you don't have the zeal of litigation, surviving in litigation is very, very difficult. First thing. The second thing, I would say that if at all you survive in litigation, the amount of labor, the amount of hard work to justify as a good advocate is like huge.
Yes, ma'am.
From 10:30 to 4:30, you have your courts to attend. After 4:30, you have your clients waiting. You have your conferences waiting. You have your drafting waiting. So again, it is too much to do a job. Like a 9 to 5 corporate job, your offices don't shut at 5. Your offices can work from 9 in the morning to 12 at midnight, 1 at midnight. You have an important hearing tomorrow. You have to prepare for it. You have an urgent demolition matter coming up. किसी का घर टूट रहा है. रात को 10 बजे वो आपके पास पेपर लेके आया. You have to work on it. So I think again, things are interconnected. When females choose litigation, I personally think there has to be a zeal. Without that zeal and enthusiasm of being an litigator, advocate, you will not succeed. First. Second, I feel that having the client participation or getting you clients is the most difficult job ever. It is most difficult than performing before the judge. Having a client, having that trust, someone coming to you with your problem and trusting you with the factor कि हाँ ठीक है ये कर लेंगे. Again here the mindset comes. Generally जो लोग दूर दराज से आते हैं या you know rural tribal areas, they have a mindset कि भैया female will not be able to do. कहीं ना कहीं वो mindset और patriarchy भी है हमारे you know deep rooted society में. तो एक वो बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर होता है कि अच्छा ये कर पाएंगी, ये कर पाएंगी क्या ये या नहीं कर पाएंगी. बट अगेन विथ इयर्स यू नो establishing your name, things do come up at their own, but it does take time. तो वो जो take time वाला पीरियड होता है ना, many females give up. And this is the reason of you know less participation of females. Another, I would say that another reason of females not participating in the legal profession is harassment. There's a lot of harassment happening. The work culture in courts, the work culture in and around is not very you know protective. That a female who comes up with no backup, again we have to differentiate. A female who comes up with a good backup is a second third generation lawyer, there's no problem with her, she'll you know again have a track of it. But a female with no backup who comes up and starts practicing at a court, there are a lot of exploitations happening back end. So she has to overcome all of this. Few are able to overcome, few are not able to overcome. So again, these are the reasons for which there is lesser participation.
That's great. Now, my next question to you is, a large number of cases related to domestic violence and workplace harassment remain pending in courts. From your perspective, what does the delay in justice indicate, and institutional support for women?
See, again, I would say that harassment matters. We have the POSH Act for that already.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, at every workplace, there is a committee established under the Act. So, again, in India, the system of law is the procedure established by law. So, any person, any act which is being done, either legal or illegal, it has to be done by a procedure established by law. So, any delay is firstly कि वो जो procedure established हुआ है by law, which is in black and white, that has to be followed. So the procedural part does take time. So institutional changes आप क्या कर सकते हो? आप institutional changes यही कर सकते हो that you have a strong framework, you know, strong infrastructure, good recruitment. You know, अगर committees में आपका meetings महीने में एक बार हो रहा है तो उसको आप committees की meetings आप जल्दी करो. या जैसे आप पुक्सो के केसेस हैं या हैरेसमेंट के केसेस हैं, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के केसेस हैं, ऑलरेडी देयर आर फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स सेटल्ड फॉर लाइक पुक्सो केसेस एंड ऑल ऑफ इट. सो अगेन आप just merely establishing is not important, implementation is important. So again the responsibility comes down to the advocate, to the judges कि आप उसको वो time frame में dispose करिए. The mechanism is already present. It's not that our lawmakers have not foreseen it. The mechanism is present, but the implementation part is not there. Implementation and accountability. आप implement करो, आप उसके लिए जो बंदा accountable है उसको accountable बनाओ. Then only you know it becomes easier. Because accountability is lacking, implementation becomes difficult.
Okay, ma'am. Now, my last question to you is, in states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, underreporting remains high. What causes this silence? Is it lack of awareness, social stigma, or procedural hurdles?
I would say all three.
Okay.
The first would be social stigma. एक लड़की या एक फीमेल को कोर्ट जाके केस लॉन्च करने के लिए सबसे बड़ा सपोर्ट होता है फैमिली. एंड फैमिली बहुत बार पीछे हट जाती है कि व्हाट विल हैपन इन फ्यूचर अगर मेरी बेटी पे या मेरी वाइफ पे या मेरी किसी यू नो रिलेटिव पे ये स्टिग्मा लग गया, you know, she won't be accepted socially. So again, it's all in the mindset. It's all in the mindset कि social stigma लगेगा. Again, आप कोर्ट जाते हो, आप सबसे पहले अगर कोई क्राइम हुआ आप थाना जाते हो, you go to the police station. The harassment begins at the police station. The biggest harassment begins at the police station. Why so? the harassment begins, police questioning you, you know, making under the below the belt statements, or harassing you for registering a simple FIR. अच्छा आप कल आइएगा, देखते हैं, करते हैं. So people lose interest कि यार कुछ हो तो नहीं रहा है, nothing is happening, and all of us want that. We want कि आज मेरा problem हुआ, कल solution हो जाए. That does not happen because our law is not like that. Our law is very clear, it is very demarcated that everything has a procedure. Now this procedure has black and white. So the problem lies कि आपका जो procedure है वो black and white है, कि उसमें loopholes है, तो वही loopholes का कोई फायदा उठाता है, और वही loopholes के कारण आपका जो process है that gets delayed.
Yes,
and when it gets delayed, the female at the other end gets frustrated कि nothing is happening, there's no ray of hope coming for me. So in that case, I would say all three reasons would be accountable for the states like Jharkhand, Bihar. I would not say Jharkhand, Bihar. आप Delhi चले जाओ, Bombay चले जाओ, Chennai चले जाओ, even the most literate states, Kerala also, these problems do exist.
Yes,
because जो हमारी इंडियन सोसाइटी है, it has been born and brought up in the patriarchal form. आज भी मेल्स डोमिनेट करते हैं, आप कितना भी एजुकेटेड हो जाओ, कुछ भी हो जाओ. Again, the system is like that.
Okay, ma'am.
The hierarchy is like that. But again, I see a very bright future for the females in India because of few policies by the states promoting females, helping females to overcome the problems, the initial hurdles, few giving schemes that कि आप females आगे आए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मैं कह लूँ कि जैसे झारखंड में आया था कि रजिस्ट्रेशन फीमेल्स के नाम पे लैंड रजिस्ट्रेशन जो था वो 1 रुपये में हो रहा था, तो कहीं ना कहीं इट वॉज मिसयूज्ड ऑल्सो, बट इट वॉज हेल्पफुल ऑल्सो फॉर अ फीमेल हु वांट्स कि उसके पास मान लो कि आप 10 रुपये, वो 10 रुपये का सामान खरीद के उसको रजिस्टर करा सकती है, बट शायद रजिस्ट्रेशन कॉस्ट की वजह से उसको लगता है कि नहीं, अगेन इट विल बी एन बर्डन फॉर मी, तो मैं छोड़ देती हूँ उसको. तो इस टाइप की पॉलिसीज जो आई थी वो अच्छी पॉलिसीज थी. तो इट इज definitely helping somewhere down the line, but again it will take years to overcome the entire problem.
Okay, ma'am. What would you like to suggest for legal awareness regarding domestic violence and gender-based violence?
Please repeat your question.
What would you like to suggest for legal awareness regarding domestic violence and gender-based violence?
See, again, domestic violence and gender-based violence, because I am at the end of litigation. For this question, I would like to have, gender-neutral answer. Again, I would just not say that women are being harassed. There are men who are also being harassed. This will deviate from your topic, but it is very important to raise this. The men are also being harassed at home. So our laws need to be, balanced in that approach. In fact, the BNS and the BNS which has come recently, they do have such provision. Balanced approach आया है. But then again, we would say that awareness and implementation, there's difference between the two. Again, even if you're making someone aware, whether she has the courage to go to the court, whether she is willing to go to the court, and if at all she is going to the court, whether she is actually genuine, For example, I have been undertaking POCSO matters, and at the end of the day, I have been feeling that POCSO is the most misused law.
Yes, ma'am.
Without procedural implementation, the cases are being registered, the cases are being taken up, और इतना ज़्यादा इसका misuse हो रहा है, and the families of children of 16, 17 years, boys are being harassed. So again, it has to be taken into consideration कि आपका law ऐसा नहीं हो कि उसका misuse होने लगे. Awareness इस तरीके का awareness नहीं हो कि उसको आप misuse कर रहे हैं. Awareness करिए, बिल्कुल करिए. Awareness तो होना चाहिए. School level से awareness होना चाहिए. ये सब, these all things should be implemented from the school level, not from the college level, but from the school level.
Yes, ma'am.
From the secondary education level itself, it should be implemented to educate the child कि उसकी क्या rights हैं और क्या rights नहीं है. But the laws again have to be, framed in such a way that the law is helpful. Nobody misuses it. But what I have been saying in courts that, if I would like to rate of 1 to 10, then I would say that 4 to 5 cases are like that where the law is being just misused. Be it domestic violence, be it 498 matters, all of them are misused at large. कि अच्छा मुझे ऐसे बोल दिया, अब मैं तो इसको कोर्ट में देखती हूँ कि ego satisfaction. Law is not for ego satisfaction. Law is for protecting.
Providing justice.
जिसके साथ injustice हुआ है, जिसके साथ बुरा हुआ है, गलत हुआ है. But again, the society is taking a step towards that, अच्छा, let us satisfy our egos. So awareness definitely will help. Awareness, but awareness should be positive, should be impactful. And when a female lodges a case and later on she compromises for a hefty amount of money, that is not justice. That is not justice. That you buy justice. अगर आपके साथ गलत हुआ है, you fight it down. Why are you coming down to money? Alimony is a different thing. But in POCSO matters, in rape cases, there are a lot of cases where seen that compromise हो जाता है, FIR back हो जाता है. So these all things needs to be curtailed.
Thank you, ma'am, for those powerful insights. To our listeners, if someone you know, faces abuse, reach out, call 181 or connect with your local legal aid center. Awareness is the first step to justice. That was Voices for Justice. I am Muskan, thanking Shruti Shrestha ma'am for joining us and you for listening. Next week, we discuss honor killing, understanding the law role in combating social violence. Until then, stay away, stay